So welcome back, everyone. We're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. My next guest has been on with me several years now. I have with me Sandy Greenlee, and she's the owner of Angels, Cremation, and Burial. And just before she came on, well, we've been talking a little bit about some of this that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. And I wrote this down the last time she was here, and we're going to talk a little bit about it this time too. If you think everything is done, and then guess what? You find out the truth. Welcome back to the show. I want you to tell everybody what you mean by that.
Well, you know, I spent all of this money to have my stepfather's estate done. I bought it. I got a trust, had everything checked over, had all my I's dotted and T's crossed, so I thought. Well, everything was dotted and T-crossed until I found out he had 5 companies that he'd never done anything with. That he had vehicles listed in those names. So at the last minute, on his deathbed, he is signing a paper so that I can get those transferred into his name, which was not a fun thing trying to get somebody on their deathbed, and I mean literally on their deathbed trying to sign this over. I was still saying, hooray! I've got everything done. I'm all in order. I've got everything under control. Well. He had one piece of property that he had in his name, William, rather than trust. And so now I get to go through probate. So, you know, it's so easy to miss that one little piece of the puzzle. So check everything you own. Is your vehicles all in your trust? Are your vehicles all listed in your will of who's going to get what? And who can take care of what? Because if they're not, you're going to have a fun day after it all happens.
And a fun day is maybe 1 or 2 cars. How many cars did you say that he has?
157. And I know that because I took a can of black spray paint and painted a number on every one of them.
That's crazy.
And some of them we don't have a lot of them we don't have titles for. A lot of them are in the company names that I was able to get changed because I had him signing a paper on his deathbed. But some of them, I have no clue where the title is at, and they're not in his name, and so now we have to have the sheriff come out and do a sheriff's title, and then we have to get a
lot of work.
Title. Oh yeah, it only took me about 6.5 hours to get 17 titles, and
wow.
I probably have another 100 to go.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Angels, Cremation, and Burial. Let me just say this. When Sandy comes on, Sandy, one of the things that you talk about, and it's what you talk about, is how to make it easier for the loved ones that are left behind. And we talk about this all the time. I'm going to go over it again. A cremation is a cremation, a cremation is a cremation, no matter where you go. But you offer everything. I want you to talk a little bit about that and then explain what why people are going a little bit more with cremation today than a burial.
Well, the main reason people are doing cremations is we're a transient society, and so we don't know where we're going to live. I mean, my grandmother lived my mother lived in the same house, and she was within 5 miles of where she was born. And so she was there. Nothing changed. But now we're all a transient society. We moved to New York, we moved to California, we moved to Illinois, we moved to Timbuktu. And so if somebody's buried, you can't go home and see them all the time. But if they're cremated, you can take the cremains with you wherever you go.
That's true.
And that's one reason is because of the transient society. The other thing is it is so much less expensive. I mean, when you consider we do a direct cremation for $635. Our immediate burial is $820. And then on top of that, you have the casket, and you have the opening and closing, and you have the outer burial container. So you're talking about $2,000 or $3,000 compared to $600. And people are watching their dollars, they're watching their finances, or they don't even have any to watch, and so they're being really, really careful. So financially, cremation is a lot better way to go.
Now, when we say a cremation is cremation because it's a cremation, the process of it is the same no matter how much you end up spending for it.
That is correct. What is different is whether they have Berber carpet and crystal chandeliers and they all wear suits and ties. They have beautiful landscaping and great big trees, because all of that costs money. And so that's what you're paying for. I mean, literally, I had somebody in, I think it was like 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, and told me that the crematory nearby his house, and he lives in an expensive neighborhood, was $5,000.
Wow.
I said, $5,000 and all they're going to do is cremate your loved one? He said, yeah, he said, that's why I'm coming to you.
Now, I want you
I
to
was
get out
shocked.
this, I am too, because that's a lot of money. Go to the website. You're gonna absolutely love Sandy, because what I love about her the most, you're the most real person when it comes to talking about this, right? And she said this a million times. God picks his flowers when he wants to pick his flowers.
That's right, whether they're old or young, whether they're sick or healthy, whether they're beautiful or ugly, whether they want to go or they want to stay, they only get to be picked by God when he wants to pick them.
And so, go to the website, it's angelscremationandburial.com. They'll do a consultation with you. You can call them direct at 480-962-6435, which is 96 Angel, 962-6435. One thing that I also love that she's done before and said, we talk about it a lot, I have to pick these things out if it's okay with you, is that when I say she's real, a lot of times you meet the people, you're meeting the families, and you know what their financial situations are a little bit. You've been talking to them, and let's say somebody says to you, I want my mother to have the best, casket there's out there, and what do you say?
Well, how much do you want to pay per hour to look at that casket? I also tell them, especially those people that have a $10,000 life insurance policy and they're married and they're elderly and they're living on their own, and I say, okay, let's figure out how much money you've just lost because your loved one has left, because you're not going to get that Social Security check anymore after this month. This is it. And you'd be surprised how many people want to spend $10,000 and then they don't want to spend anything because they realize that $10,000 is not even going to make up in their income for the next year. And people they're grieving and they're emotional and they're not really thinking clearly. I mean, it just breaks my heart. It does, because people want the best for their loved one. Give it to them when they're alive, when they can enjoy it, when they can appreciate it. When they're gone, let them be in God's care, and God's going to give them the best he's got to give.
Call her at 480-962-6435, which is 96 Angel, and have a consultation with her. If you haven't planned, which is so important, yes, maybe, for some reason, and we've talked about this as well, that people here in America don't like to talk about death very much.
Nope, they think everybody's going to die. Somebody else is going to die tomorrow, and it's not going to be them. But guess what, folks? That's the one thing we're not going to get out of doing. You don't get out of paying income tax unless you want to go to prison. You don't get out of life without dying. And we're all going to die sometime, whether we're 10 or 2 or 97.
And I think more people are being a little bit careful with their money, right?
Yes.
Again, a cremation is a cremation. If you're gonna go that way, call and get the best price that you can possibly get. And it makes sense because you don't wanna have to pay for the Berber carpet, and you don't have to pay for the chandelier and all that other stuff. You don't have to. Call her at 480-962-6435. Okay, well, I think that, another thing that we've talked about is how long, when people don't prepare, okay? Tell them how long somebody might be hanging out in the cooler.
15 days.
15 days! Do you want to hang out in the cooler that long and make sure that at least that all your paperwork is done and what? Notarized.
Notarized.
We say it all
And
the time.
don't say that just because you like your oldest son or you like your youngest daughter, they're the legal next of kin, because they are not. The state of Arizona has a definite definition of who's the legal next of kin. It starts with you're married with a marriage license, married, your spouse. Then it goes to all of your children. And then it goes to both of your parents. And then it goes to all of your siblings. After that, I have to look it up because I get a little confused sometimes. I think it's grandparents and grandchildren, but it might be grandchildren and grandparents.
Right.
But the point of the matter is, do it yourself, have it notarized, and then you don't have to worry about anybody else.
Right.
And you don't have to hang out in my cooler.
And the other thing is a lot of times people try and do this on their own. They'll go to Dr. Google and they'll get all the paperwork, but they're not necessarily doing it right.
If you want to get a power of attorney, go to the Attorney General's website, Arizona. It's free. It's there. It's got all I have to do is initial, and sign and notarize. If you can't afford a notary, come to my office, I'll do it for free.
People, you need to make sure that you take care of your planning, pre-planning. I know that you wanna plan your dinner, I know that you wanna plan the parties, but pre-planning this is probably the number one thing that people should talk about. And here in America, for some reason we don't. But I love talking about it on Networking Arizona. And what I love is that it's not about, it is sad. Yes, it is. But there's also happiness in it, there's peace in it, there's all sorts of things. And when you know that you've gotten everything taken care of as best you can,
It's going to be peaceful when it happens.
you can call them direct at 480-962-6435, which is 96 Angel. The website is angelscremationandburial.com. Go up there and check it out. They've had it so user-friendly for everyone. And let's start pre-planning. Hang tight, we're gonna be back in just a minute. We're still live in the room, okay? So, don't matter how many times you talk about it, no matter how many times you
Just
say
have it
it,
tomorrow, somebody else,
yeah.
not to me today.
But for some reason, we still have people that will put their heads in the sand no matter what.
That's
No
right.
matter what.
We can't do anything for them.
Now, let me also think that maybe we should talk about this, I don't know what you think. An estate plan, which is important to have, is different than pre-planning.
That's right.
Right.
The estate plan is more about your finances, about your, who's gonna get what, who's gonna do what. Pre-planning is like just your funeral, that's
Right,
it.
just your funeral,
demise,
right.
well, not funeral, I'd say demise, because
Demise.
you don't have to have a funeral, you can just do a cremation.
Right.
Or you can do a funeral if you want.
Can you still be cremated and have a funeral if you want?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You do it all the time.
Mhm.
It's called a traditional funeral with cremation is final disposition instead of burial.
Okay. So there's other ways that you could still do that, I do think that it's important maybe that we do talk a little bit about this. Is there anything else that I'm not hitting?
You're fine.
Okay,
I just need to educate people.
yeah,
Because I literally, last week, had somebody come in my office, $10,000 they paid for this trust. Had everything in it about what to do with their stuff while they're alive, what to do with their stuff after they were dead, but nothing to do about their body, nothing. And they knew it was in there.
that's why this conversation here is gonna be so
That's the
important.
reason they need to look. Don't believe the lawyer, it's all included, it's all in there. Look with your own eyes and see that it is there.
Well, if you could deal with things someone like you, because you're in this business, you would think that it wouldn't happen. I thought my dad was the smartest man in the whole wide world. And after he died, I realized he really wasn't. Because mistakes are made all of the time, and they don't realize that they could cause trouble. Causing trouble with banks, accounts, and things like that, causing trouble where you have to stay, like I said in that
Well,
corner.
and just like my life insurance plan, my husband died 5 years ago. You know when I thought about it? About 4 months ago. And I thought, I need to see who is the beneficiary of my life insurance policy. Well, of course, it was my husband, and then it was both of my children. Well, being both of my children is fine, other than the fact that if one of my children dies, their spouse got the other half, and I didn't want that.
See, so you have to change it.
So I changed it, and then they sent me out this letter that said, it's done, and then it's like, it didn't say it was done, the beneficiary said, we've taken care of your concerns. So I had to call to make sure they really took care of my concerns the way I wanted them taken care of.
This is Sandy. They don't know who they're dealing with. And that's what makes me appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
I do. Here we go. So welcome back, everyone. We're still live on Facebook, and during the break, I always like to talk to Facebook land out there. And right now, during the time that we were talking, I said, Sandy, there's a big difference between an estate plan and pre-planning for your demise, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, there is one thing that is great that you do your estate plan. Absolutely, everybody should have one.
Amen.
Thank you. And make sure that you get things notarized. We did talk about that a little bit earlier today. And when it comes to pre-planning, which again, you need to go in there and see what it is that they offer. If you're gonna get cremated, it just makes sense to call Sandy and have it done, because it doesn't really matter where you go. But there's other things. Let's talk about some of the things that people don't realize that they will be making it so much easier for other people.
Well, the main thing is to just let people know what you want. Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? What do you want to have done with your cremains? Where do you want to be buried? What kind of casket do you want? How much money do you want to be spent? Some people say they don't want to spend any money. Other people say, well, I want this and I want that and I want something else. I am not the mortuary for everybody. I am a very low-end, low-key, no ruffles and frills. I won't say none. But
I love it.
Very few ruffles and frills. So if you want all the ruffles and frills, go someplace else. Just go someplace and get it done. Because your family will love you when they meet you in heaven and say, oh, thank you for having this all done. And otherwise they might think, oh, I'm gonna hurt you when I get there.
Yes, and it's so very true. I've said it a little bit earlier today, is that, you know, when you have passed away, it's really the family members. And if you think that they all agree and they're all gonna be like perfectly nice to one another,
They're
it doesn't
not.
work like that. Yeah, I'm sure you experienced quite a bit.
Oh, yes.
Now, you also just talked about your the life insurance policy that you had, and again, looking at them, getting them out, dusting them off, making sure that they're right, or the way you want them to be.
That's right. I mean, my husband died 5 years ago. And it just dawned on me, because I'm always preaching, be prepared. Make sure you've got what you want to get. Make sure that everything says what you want to say. And I don't trust lawyers more to tell me what they say it says. I get out the book and I say, could you show me where that's at, please? I need to make sure that it's saying what I want it to say, not what you think I want it to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went through my whole trust, I changed some things, and then that lead me to my life insurance policy. And my husband was still the beneficiary, which would not be a problem, other than my children would have to get his death certificate and send it in, which is just time delay. So I changed it to my children. And I realized that you can change it to your children, and they can each split it even 50-50. And if they die, 50% will go to their spouse, or 50%, you know, the one that dies, their spouse will get it, or their children will get it, or the other one can get 100%. And you have to decide what is best for you and your situation. But decide, make a decision. Don't let the kids have this wake-up surprise. Oh, I don't get anything, because, you know, my husband died, and so I was expecting to get half of mom's estate. And so just make sure that it's what you want it to be.
Or your brother goes and buys a boat and starts living on it, and the next thing you know, you got nothing.
That's true, that happened to Carol.
Well, anyway, so, and he might even be listening, who knows, but you know what? He's got to live with himself. I want to talk about this, because what are the pros and cons to a prepaid cremation or burial?
And because then it's guaranteed, you don't have to worry about the price going up, and the way the economy's going up right now, I'd be concerned about that. I'd be wanting to save all the money I could. And so whenever you prepay, that is those prices are guaranteed no matter how long you live. Now that is not, I believe that is true at all mortuaries, but I would make sure that I ask questions. Is all of this going to be prepaid, or is there something left out, like the casket? I'm going to not get the casket I want unless I pay more. I'm not going to get the hearse I want unless I pay more. So make sure, ask questions. You know, we live in a society where people will tell you what you want to hear, but I want to see it in writing. Where does it say this is all prepaid and you're not going to charge me any more money? Generally speaking, that is the purpose of doing a prepaid, because it goes into an insurance policy or it goes into a trust, and then the beneficiary becomes the mortuary. And so yes, they're going to get a little bit of interest, and I mean that literally in my case, a little bit. It usually rarely ever even covers the cost of our costs that we've increased. And we don't raise our prices very often. So just ask questions and make sure. But the most important thing is, if you want to be cremated, please, please, please get a notary and sign it and say you want to be cremated and what you want to have done with your cremains. It will save everybody so much stress in the end.
So important that you understand that even if you say it, you know, or you have it written down, you could have it written down, but if it's not notarized,
It's
It doesn't
not
mean much.
Nothing. It's a
Exactly.
piece of paper with some ink on it.
Right, and this is what people don't understand, that it really has to be done correctly. What's the number one piece of paper that you think people should have?
I think you should go to the Attorney General's website because it's free, and I like that word, free. Go to the Attorney General's website.
See why I love her?
Get the power of attorney that has the medical health care power of attorney, the whatever else you want, the financial power of attorney, the mental health power of attorney. I don't care, they're all on there, they're all free. And I would venture to say if they come from the Attorney General's website, they must be legal.
Mm-hmm.
And it says a place right there for them to be notarized, it has a place for them to be witnessed, but I'm telling you, get them notarized.
Get it done
Because everybody
correctly.
will accept a notary, not everybody's gonna accept a witness, because who knows who that witness is, are they dead and alive? Or are they gonna stand up for you, or they're gonna be gone, and somebody says, but I have to prove that they really did sign this, get it notarized, it works really great.
Her phone number to call is 480-962-6435, which is 96 Angel. You can also go up onto her website, super friendly to be able to use and learn. You've got everything that you talk about here, a lot of it's there for people to see and get educated. That's what she's all about, is educating the public, and over and over and over again, because for some reason, you have to hear it over and over and over again before it sticks into the head. It's Angels with an S, cremation and burial.com. You know, some of the things that people ask you, I'm gonna go to cremation just because I personally think more people, do you feel that more people?
75% of Arizona does cremation.
Right, so what is the number one question that you get asked when it comes to a cremation?
Oh, the number one question I get asked, why does everybody have to sign? Mother told me that's what she wanted. Or I'm the oldest, or I'm the youngest, or I'm the one that's taking care of her. I think that'd probably be the number one question is, why does everybody have to sign? Why can't I just do it?
Some of the things that you have here that this is a long time ago when we first started doing this show together, that people ask are like, for instance, things like, do they do it all at one time, or do they do more than one person at a time?
No, it's only one person at a time. It's against the law to do anything more than that. And retorts aren't big enough to put more than one in anyway.
Okay, and then the other thing is that about dividing the cremains afterwards.
You can divide the cremains any way you want to. It's not against the law. Some people, it's against their religion, but that's up to you and God. It's not up to me.
And the other question is, what's the process when it happens? What should they do? Tell everybody what they do.
When somebody passes away, the first thing you do, if they're on hospice, you call the hospice nurse or the hospice. If they're not on hospice, you call the non-emergency police. They will come out, and then once they determine whether they're going to go to the medical examiner or they're going to go directly to the mortuary, then the mortuary is called to come and pick up the loved one. You need to make an appointment to come in or do the paperwork over the internet. And then the mortuary is getting a death certificate signed, getting permission from the county, the medical examiner, whatever it requires depending on what your disposition is. And then you pay for it and it's taken care of. It usually takes about a week to 10 days to take care of anything, whether it's a cremation or a burial, depending on what you want and how slow you want to go or how fast you want to go.
I'll tell you something, folks. When I sit and listen to Sandy, which I love having you on, and because people need to know realistically, and that's what you're all about.
Bottom line, that's
You know?
right.
And when we're dealing with this, again, you as the person, you have no idea what you're doing. You're giving the gift of such peace of mind for the people that are left behind. And I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't care, I'm going to be passed away, it won't really matter. It does matter. What are your final words?
Well, if you love your kids, you love your family, take care of yourself. Attorney General's website, it's wonderful. And be educated, ask questions, look and see what you really have and what you really need. And know that peace is the greatest gift we can give to anybody in the world.
And know this, a cremation is a cremation is a cremation. If you're gonna get cremated, it really doesn't matter. So you might as well go and talk to Sandy at Angels Cremation and Burial. Her price, and I know it's just starting at $635, which is just awesome, because you're not paying for the chandelier, you're not paying for the Berber carpet, but you're also getting Sandy, and she's just a doll, and she's the most real person I've met in my entire life. 480 962-6435. It's angelscremationandburial.com.